It's time to focus on seniors with Helping Seniors TV. The television show designed to make you aware of senior issues and needs, as well as to acquaint you with the resources available to help you age in place and with dignity. Now, here's your host, Joe Steckler.
I'm Joe Steckler, and welcome to Helping Seniors, the television arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard County. Our show is designed to provide you with information on how to develop your own aging and care plans. Our topic today is senior social media. Joining me today is Kerry, Fink, and Kay Kaiser of Helping Seniors of Brevard County. And I want to make one additional point, viewers, today. The fact that both Kerry and Kay bring extensive experience in the radio and television industries, as well as care programs, social media, and they're qualified to speak about what we're going to talk about today. And hopefully I will be on the learning curve, as are you, as we discuss today's topic, because it's becoming more apparent to me the seniors, and especially those that care for seniors, have to do a much better job of being self-informed about what sources, resources, and capabilities are available to help them care for aging parents, friends, and themselves as we become a more rapidly aging county in the United States. So please pay particular attention today to what Kerry and Kay are going to talk about. Now, did I cover that, Kerry? Kay and
I think
Kerry?
you did well.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent.
I may not know that much about it, but I can talk.
You're doing good.
I'm kidding. I'm going to probably read a little bit from my script because I think it's important because our viewers need Kay and Kerry to know. So let's just talk about social media. You want to lead, Kerry?
Sure. You know, social media gives us such a wonderful opportunity to get connected in a way that we've never had before. If you think about it, we grew up in an era when you would have to make your long distance calls quick because the bill was running. You would think about to watch TV, you had to fiddle with rabbit ears. To listen to a radio, you had to find a transistor radio or something. Today, all of this is done from your computer, your tablet, or maybe even your smartphone. So you have an ability to connect with people, literally all your neighbors, people down the street, people throughout the county, or literally friends and family from around the world. And so social media gives us an opportunity to communicate in ways that never has been available to us before. And that's really good. And sometimes it can be dangerous. And we want to talk about both aspects of that throughout today. The good part is the communication. The bad part is that you have to be a little bit careful when you're dealing with people that you haven't met before online.
But
That's true.
when we talk about our youth, in my youth, my family was one of the families that had the telephone in a radius area. So if people wanted to call on telephone, they came to our house to talk on the telephone. Now, that may sound stupid to say in the way our whole system works today, folks, but it wasn't that way back in the 40s and the late 30s. It was an entirely different country as far as what we Kay, what would you add to what Kerry said?
Well, I think, you brought up a good point. And as far as people being able to communicate quickly, everything's right there. I know that when my daughter interned in Jerusalem, we did Skype, and she was right there on my computer screen. And how far has that come? And you can now do that on your phone as well. But you're right, you do have to be careful, because if you start connecting with someone that you're not familiar with, that could result in some unforeseen measures.
Well, I think right now you're talking about the business of scams.
That's right.
If people aren't careful with how they use their phones, iPhone, iPad, all this stuff,
Right.
Absolutely.
you can open yourself up to privacy invasion, and you could lose everything.
Even
if you're not
identity
careful.
theft.
Pardon?
Even identity theft.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and that's very important. You know, everybody has heard the story about, they call it the Nigerian lottery scam, a rich relative, somebody passed away and I'd have to have somebody in America to help facilitate this transaction. I'll gladly pay you $5 million out of my $100 million if you'll do this for me.
Right.
But it always indicates that you have to pay a fee once you get into it. Those are the things to be careful of. And honestly, much of it is common sense. And it's just remembering to use that same level of discretion that you would use just meeting a person who came to your door that you would with meeting somebody online. So that's kind of the rough part of it. But really, for the most part, I think it's to our benefit to talk about the advantages and the pluses that social media gives us, because there's so many ways that we can improve life for seniors.
But before we get into that,
sure.
let me ask one question. Let's say you have the inquisitive person and they decide they want to open that email that's obviously a scam. What is the danger of opening that? What do you provide to that person when you inquisitively open your email?
Well, there are rather not nice people who use the opportunity for attachments. It's like, here, open this. I've sent you this. Have a look. It always comes with some kind of intriguing open this, or you don't want to miss this. And a lot of times what happens is somebody will access somebody's account that's been hacked. So it comes from a name of somebody that you might know, but you should look at that message and go, does that sound like a message from this person? Because it'll have a provocative title like, oh, you don't want to miss this. Here's a really funny video, but there's nothing else there. And then when you go to click the attachment, now you found your computer's been infected with a virus, or worse yet, something that's called a Trojan, which may be trying to find your identity to hack your bank or whatever.
So essentially, your inquisitiveness has just opened Pandora's box.
Yeah, it could be. And that's why you really have to look at this and go, there is a little bit more danger than a piece of junk mail in your mailbox. If you get the mail in your mailbox, you can say, well, this doesn't apply to me, and you can toss it. But you do want to take that extra step when you open an email and really look at it and go, is this really from a person I know and trust? There are all the stories about, the distant relative who's been jailed someplace and they need you to send bail money. That's another scam. And then we find out later that person doesn't really exist, or they were never near that. So there are a lot. That's probably worthy of a show by itself, just when we talk about these things.
The safest thing is, I would say, if 100% of the time you just deleted that, you'd probably do yourself a favor.
Yeah, if it's in your spam folder, no question.
Absolutely.
And even the tricky spams that come across, just look at it and go, does this sound like this person that I know is writing to me?
Yeah. I have not met too many people in my life that are going to give me $1,000 out of the clear blue sky.
Right.
It's just like for years, we took a woman to church, and every time she got in the car on Sunday morning, she was convinced she'd won the Publishers Clearinghouse, and she was going to get $10 million.
Yeah, and I think one of the common denominators in these scams are, if anybody is going to give you money, they're going to give you money. They're not going to ask you to pay anything for it. So if there's any time that something rings like, oh, send us $50 processing fee or something, say, just deduct it from the $1 million you're going to send me. I'm happy to take 200 out of it. Just send me the rest.
I tell you, I just delete them. I don't, because I don't know. And just like most of the people watching this show, they don't know any more than I really know about truthfulness, how the system works and everything. So you do yourself a great favor if you just delete the thing and wait for the letter to come where somebody's going to tell you something. But that was the negative side. You wanted to talk about the positive part.
Yeah, I do. And I just was going to close it up with a postscript. There's a joke that runs in our family. Every once in a while, somebody will say, I read that on the internet. It must be true.
Okay. That's been around.
So that's always a good caveat whenever you're digging on the internet. But let's talk about the positive side of the internet, because there are so many things. One of the things that we've talked about here before in some of the calls that Kay works with, where seniors, we're social beings and we love to get together. And a lot of times, one of the challenges for seniors are, if they're alone and they don't necessarily have people that they're interacting with, that's one of the benefits of social media. There's an opportunity for us to connect with people who share the same things. In fact, one of the founders of Google, he called this theory, he talked about tribes. He talked about people like we organize ourselves based on our interests. Like for those of us that are into our church and the things we do, that would be a tribe. But there could be another tribe could be, I'm a big space fan. So I love paying attention to everything that goes on with the things that go on with rocket launches. Well, there's a tribe of people who all connect for those kind of things. And so almost any interest, in fact, there's social media sites out there, one called Pinterest, which is where everybody gets together around a certain topic. Like it could be somebody who likes latch hook rugs, and there's a whole community out there just about that. So whatever the thing is that you enjoy, there's probably social media where you can interact with people who are really like your electronic pen pals who are into the same thing.
But how do you find time to do all that stuff? How do you do that?
Well, one of the things we talked about, Facebook was really, I think, a kind of an innovative game changer in this, because people started to realize that they can connect, and now there's this whole thing where instead of like what happens with traditional media, where media feeds you what they think you want to see, you look at your Facebook wall and you decide and can look at the things that are of interest directly to you. So it's all presented, and now you pick and choose, which theoretically would make you more efficient about how you use your media. But it could go both ways.
I
was going to, since you're talking about the Facebook so much, I'd like to really kind of get out to the information on how important is a like. You hear this all the time. Like us on Facebook. What's that mean, Kerry?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I asked you about that.
No, it's a good thing.
But it's important.
It's almost become like a notch on your belt, if you will, how many likes on Facebook. And that's typically for companies or organizations. And it's a kind of a rough indicator of how many people are interacting. So if you just started a new business, you write all your Facebook friends, say, like my new business, go to my page and like my page. And so a quick fast barometer is, well, this organization had hundreds of thousands of likes, so that must be a big national organization. And then you might find a local organization that has 500 likes. It's not really you have to always put that in context, but it just meant somebody took a moment, clicked the button, and says, right, I like that.
But that also brings that Facebook page up higher in the ranking too.
Well, that's true. That we get into a whole discussion of search engine rankings, which means when you type something in on Google, what you're going to see first. Google tries to figure out what you meant by the thing that you asked your computer to search. I want to know good places to eat in my neighborhood. Well, it's going to try to match what you just asked, and it will use an algorithm that includes some of the things that indicate relative popularity. How many other people have searched? If you've ever sat on your Google and you start to write in a search and all of a sudden you see it's finished the sentence or maybe gives you a couple of choices, that means somebody else asked the same question.
I just heard on the news the other night there was a purported use by a politician of buying these likes in order to get themselves higher in the ranking.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
possible.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There are organizations and companies who do that. In fact, I just saw a thing on a newscast just the other day where they're talking about, people go to like Amazon.com and see what product ratings are. And there are companies out there who go and pay people to write reviews. So you have to, it's the old caveat emptor. You have to use your own common sense and just understand that's the reality of the world that we're
Okay, our organization is designed to help people, helping seniors. We have entered into LinkedIn. We've entered into Facebook, Twitter. You designed a new website. I listen to both of you talk about all getting onto social media. And we've done it under the guise of making more people aware of our capability to provide them good information, help them be educated about good services available for seniors.
right.
What are the dangers that we're facing in trying to do this? Are there any?
I don't think for us as an organization they really are, because you're so careful to screen the prospective partners who come in and are businesses. You want to make sure that they're quality, that they're sincere, and that. So I think you're doing a vetting process that by the time it reaches when we present things out on the media, you've already covered that. Now, some of the things that we're doing, what's wonderful about the opportunities that we have is, as you know, and you've talked about before, we do all the television that you can regularly see on regularly scheduled Bright House television on several different channels. But you can also access all of that material on our website, on our YouTube channel. And you can pick a show by topic. I want to see a show about diabetes, and you can find a show or several shows where you may have covered that topic. You can go very specifically for what you want to do. Like recently, there's a new category that's very interesting that you were talking about called elder mediation. Well, that's a new topic for most of us. We've not heard that. Well, now there's a show. So if you maybe had a son or daughter that was living, say, in California, you can say, let me give you the link to my YouTube channel so you can see what this is all about. You can watch the same program I just watched.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you say worldwide YouTube, I also heard I watched on television last night that this show is seen in 80 countries. Would that show, when you just said a mediation, since it's going to be on worldwide YouTube, would that be shown all over the world?
Any place there's an internet connection that the government or something hasn't blocked it out. So theoretically, yes.
So in Mumbai, whatever that is, India, whatever, they could watch our show?
Absolutely, they can.
And they can get our website and watch it there too.
Absolutely. And see, all that's free because like we were joking about before, you were talking about people lining up to use the phone in your house. I remember at Thanksgiving, our parents would make us line up by the phone because we had like 30 seconds to talk to grandma and grandpa because this was very expensive.
Long distance call. Yeah.
Definitely.
But that's how we've been. Okay. Kerry's monopolized the talk today. How about you?
Well,
what are you seeing here as an information specialist?
Well, I find I've got to bring up because each week we have a computer class here because we've had donated computers.
I was going to ask about that.
And I see the development of watching because I had to teach the class last Wednesday. And I was showing the ladies some different things on the web and they said, wow, I never knew that. And it's just the excitement of being educated and learning this new experience and skill and seeing like, oh my goodness, I can put a picture in here. I can cut and paste and put this and change the color and everything. But the excitement of the technology and now looking at the fact that they feel, oh, wow, I've just opened up a whole world that I never knew existed.
And I want to emphasize to our viewers, you do not have to be an experienced typist to do this. If I can learn to do it, folks, you can learn to do it. Now, I don't know all the nuances. Every once in a while, I'll call Kerry or Kay to try to figure out what I've done wrong. And the most aggravating thing to me, and I had to learn it real quick, if I'm typing a long document, I save it.
That's true.
It was absolutely irritating to put a half hour or an hour into a document and not save the darn thing and hit the wrong button and have it disappear.
Right.
But every time I did that, when I had to retype it, I made it shorter and probably was better.
Oh, that's true.
But I still, using the internet has got to be like anything else. You got to be smart how you do it. You just can't open yourself up to thievery.
Right.
Okay. What are some of the other things, especially now, you've designed our website, redesigned it. What are some of the advantages you both can tell our viewers about with our new enhanced website? What do we bring to the table now?
Well, just like we started talking about, I think one of the most critical things, because it's part of our mission statement at Helping Seniors, we want to be outbound with information that's useful to seniors. And obviously, while our focus is for people right here in Brevard County, we know, for example, that we have a lot of snowbirds who are here part of the year, and then they go up north for the other part of the year, or they may have relatives in other parts of the country. So again, like we were talking about, with the TV programs, the radio programs, the print articles, if they're not in the town this week, it's great because they can still access it from wherever they are. Number two, if somebody sees an article like, oh, my aunt has this condition, but she lives in Oregon, well, fine. Let me email her the link, and now she can get the benefit of this information and take action on it in her area. So
I was just going to say, we've actually had calls from other counties asking us to see if we can help them.
Right.
So that all of that has gotten out. And I also say, please go to our website if there's anything else you want to learn about, because you can search and you can pull up that specific information, whether it's print, TV, or radio.
And we already have.
I also look at with the experience that you two bring to what we've done. I had a lot of ideas. I didn't know how to do it. Well, what you all have done have opened up new ways to communicate to the extent that right now we have 22 sponsors for the for our media programs.
Right.
But almost every one of those sponsors is in some way connected to elder care, senior care.
Right.
And the organizations that are our media sponsors, you get calls, Kay, and many times you refer the caller to those people to provide the service, because we already know they have a vested interest, not just making money, but a vested interest in providing a right service for a senior citizen. And that's important.
And I often tell callers, I say, I'm going to refer you to a couple people. And the reason why is because I've spoken with them. I've had nothing but positive response coming back from others who have gone to them. But the bottom line is they're trustworthy and they're not going to take advantage of you.
Okay.
See, you're really talking about relationships.
It really is.
The point is that you because of the work that's already gone into bringing and like I said, vetting out these different people who are part of the Helping Seniors, and then the fact that you're connecting with people who are like-minded, there's really that you're facilitating an ability, and that's what social networking at its best is about. You're getting people who have similar goals, similar needs, similar objectives together for common purpose. And that's what's so exciting about watching what's happening with the advocacy program right now, because the whole opportunity is now somebody comes here, they get the vision, they understand, they've read the article. Think about how many calls you get. I read the article in Senior Scene magazine. I want to be part of this thing. And then they get connected and they'll put on their Facebook to their community, this is important. You need to get connected up in here. It's how we're doing with the electronic service.
It keeps growing.
As our media person, how do you assemble all this stuff so that I can intelligently convey this to the commissioners that these are real needs? We need to address these needs. The county is out of touch with what's happened over the last 15, 17, 18 years. That's a personal opinion, but I can back it up.
Well, I think you start with the fact that with social media in particular, it becomes a snowball rolling downhill because it ends up exponentially growing. Just like we said, if the very first time that you conducted the very first senior advocacy meeting, there was a handful of people who either were heard about it or got connected. And now you see the number of people every time there's new people who come in and say, no, this is important. We need to be part of this. And eventually what that does is it becomes a thing that's so large. Everybody's, well, we have to make sure these people look at the size group that this percentage of the population represents.
But what is the value of Twitter to us under the social media Helping Senior? How does somebody being on Twitter affect what we're trying to do, Kerry?
Well, think of all these social media names, these buzzwords that fly around: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. They're all like different channels. If in your old TV days, you might have, I have channel X for this, channel Y for that, and channel Z for the other thing. Okay, these are different networks that function in different ways. Twitter, as you know, is a 140 character limit. So when you send a message on Twitter, by definition, it can be no more than 140 characters.
See, I didn't know that.
So the point is you have to condense everything. Everybody's using shorthand, almost text message kind of notes to convey that information. And there's also a community by using, you've heard them say, hashtag this. Well, that's a way of tying in your message to other people who are discussing that same topic. So Twitter has become very, very popular with younger generations rather fast. And you've heard all the gaffes. Some celebrity tweeted something out, and now they're in trouble because they said the wrong thing.
But if somebody uses Twitter and hits a buzzword or a keyword which you have put into our base, when they hit that on Twitter, could that cause them to go to our internet, to our website, to pull up a program?
Well, it depends on the message. It depends on the message that is in there. But yes, the answer is yes. So, for example, one of the benefits is every time we publish new media. For example, I'll use this example. You did the radio show yesterday afternoon on WMEL. There may have been people who were not able to listen to it live. Maybe they were at work. Maybe there was a number of reasons. Already today, you can go to helpingseniors of Brevard.org and you can listen to that message now you can listen to that whole radio program live. Well, not live, but you understand what I'm saying. You can listen to it now in full on the website. But at the same time we publish it to the website, we also put messages out on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on the Google Plus page, so people know that show is posted. So somebody could go to the Facebook page and go, oh, there's a show that Joe did yesterday with a podiatrist. I'm interested. I didn't know all these things.
You do that right after the show? You put all that on, that stuff.
It happens with our TV programs. Every time there's an article in one of the publications that we're published in, every time there's a new newsletter, it's immediately posted there. And like we spoke about, even what we're doing now with the survey, we get a tremendous amount of volume of people sending surveys in. There's a lot of people who go on, and we've had groups who email around and say, here's the link to the survey. Tell all the people.
You've had other groups send it to another group saying it?
Right.
Exactly.
Of all that's happening, there is a senior service. I forget. They go around different churches and they have teaching programs. Mm-hmm. What is the name of that program? You know offhand what I'm talking about?
Not exactly.
Shepherd Center.
Mm-hmm.
Shepherd Centers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They have a TV class. They have internet classes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But you have taken it a step further. You made available computers here,
right,
and you teach people. We're almost out of time.
They're free, too.
Pardon?
Free lessons.
Free lessons. We are really. We're going to do. We'll have to do another show on this in the future because there's just so much to talk about. But the thing is, I hope that we've whetted people's appetites to go to our website, helpingseniors.org, find out what we're talking about because it'll be on there.
Yep.
There you go.
This is Joe Steckler. I am broadcasting from radio station WML 1300 AM, where you can hear our Helping Seniors program on the radio every Thursday at 1 p.m. The work we do at Helping Seniors is important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our media sponsors, such as AM 1300 WML here in Brevard County, are so important. I'd also like to thank other media partners as Senior Scene magazine, where you'll see our Helping Seniors newsletter as a center pullout feature in each month's edition. You'll also see an article each month in Hometown News, a weekly local paper. And I'd also like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of both our outbound information programs such as this, as well as our inbound information efforts by calling our senior information line at 321-473-7770. There, they will get help and direction that could be helpful for their specific situation or circumstances through information, education, and access to resources. Lastly, I'd like to thank all viewers, listeners, and readers who take an action step and help as individuals to support the mission of helping seniors. It's quite easy, actually, to join them. You can call us at 321-473-7770 to get involved as a partner with Helping Seniors, or you can also donate directly on our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.